we're doing a public hearing. We're gonna reopen our public hearing. We had a public hearing last week. We continued it, went for a site walk at the lot, and we closed the public part of the hearing, but we're gonna open up our hearing. This was for an application from David Lozee on behalf of Gregory Lozee, requesting a variance from Article 2, Section C3 of the Nottingham zoning ordinance to permit the building of a shed with a 2-foot setback, which was actually a 1.5-foot setback, from the property line where a 20-foot setback is required. The property is located at 9 Lookout Point Lane in Nottingham, New Hampshire. It is identified as tax map 7152. Okay, so we went over to the lot. It was on Thursday, right?
Yes.
So we went over to the lot on Thursday. It was pretty icy, but Mr. Lozee showed us, he painted the lines, he showed us, we looked to the right of the house and he, for his access down to the lot, there's not a lot of room. There's trees that he's taken down, pretty much every tree he could take down. So there wasn't too much on the right side. So then we went back to the left side and we discussed some more, and I think he agreed to what, 7 foot, shrinking down to 7 foot.
Let him present it.
What was that?
Are you gonna come forward and talk to us?
Yeah, you can talk, and it's not really the public hearing, but we can let you up to.
Yeah, good evening. Dave Lozee, 9 Lookout Point Lane. Yeah, thanks for coming out Thursday and looking at the situation where I have on my right-hand side, really the only access that I have for safety and fire or anything like that. I have access to get into the well, and that's really the only place I have it. In reviewing after the last meeting we had, the last CBA meeting, when you came out on the site, I proposed a new concept, a new design. If you recall, I showed you this with a shed roof instead of a gable roof with, I can show the butters. And instead of having water going on that side of the property, the water would all go on this side, be contained on this side, down drain pipe and then tied into my perimeter pipe there. So, and then I proposed to do a 7-foot, which would give us, smaller, as much as I could to,
Right,
instead of 8 feet.
You were gonna bring it back a little more.
I'm bringing it
into that,
offset.
little more into the offset.
Yes,
Yeah.
from what the surveyor had put on the plan.
Right,
It was
he had it
even-
down a little further.
Yeah, he had it past that jog of the house.
Right.
That's where the propane tanks are.
Right, so you were gonna bring it back, move it in a little,
Pull it towards the street, towards the road.
because you have, in that jog, I mean, you have your light meter, that you have to keep
Yeah.
some distance, and you got a box for the pump for the
Right.
septic.
Yes,
And there was not a lot of room up in that back corner,
no.
because the way, the lot line goes in a lot further.
Yeah, and keeping it in, I think we said was like, cause we had 10'6" really from the corner of the house to the exact property line that's
Yeah.
surveyed. And, so by keeping it in, making the building 7 feet,
Right, we were gonna.
it
get
would give
3
us
feet.
more room on the side, and also, in reality, thinking of it after we met on that, is that it does give me room to walk by there, to go down that way to that side,
Right, 'cause
to the
you-
side of my property.
Right, you didn't wanna be on the.
Right.
Right, you wanna stay on your property.
Right,
Yeah, because the other side of on the right, looking from the lot down, on the right-hand side, you also said you had to do a drain in there and
have to
that.
do a drain, and then those trees that were there,
Right.
that were in there, but that was all the cut limit for the DES.
Right,
And
And-
keeping the butter on that side, and the DES said, well, you saw the ribbons, that's why I
Right.
left the ribbons on the trees, even for when they come out and do the inspection.
oh, go ahead.
Can I ask one question? When you initially bought this land and built the house, did you intend to build a shed?
I wanted the shed, yeah, because it was so small, the way to put anything, to put any the essential things that we need, snow blowers and generators, stuff like that,
Okay.
I mean, we only had so much room, yeah. I really was when they first designed the house, it was like, they had that little 3-foot jog that was supposed to be like a 10-foot jog, but because of the setbacks, it didn't work. So it just made my porch and that area underneath smaller. So that restricted my area to store stuff there too.
Any other comments, questions?
Not right now.
The application says 2-foot setback, and that's gonna be increased. Would you agree to a 3-foot
Yeah,
setback?
yeah, that's what it said, because,
So, when we make our motion, we can
yeah,
make that
make that
change.
change, yeah, because it would be a 7-foot shed, 7 foot by 12 feet, what it is. So it's like 11.6 actually when I pulled it forward to be with the front of the house, because I don't want it to be, you know, with the design, I put a lot. and
You're gonna have the door
The door,
facing the road,
right, exactly like this, yeah,
right, so the
Face-
door's gonna
facing-
face the road.
right,
You're gonna have a gutter and you're gonna bring the water into
Tied
the
into my
drain that you now have. You have a drain for your house.
yes,
Right,
yeah.
to catch the water.
Yeah, so the water won't go, it won't be like a gable roof before where the water
Right.
would've went over on that side, so there'll be no water coming on that side.
Right,
It's
all the
gonna come
water will
off.
go to your side.
Exactly, yeah.
Are you putting a French drain in, or are you gonna put a perforated, pipe?
Well, there's a drain already there on the perimeter drain
Yeah.
that's in place, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna dig down and take the gutter, the roof, the gutter that I have, and take the downspout and tie it into that drain.
Okay, so the existing is a French drain type,
Yes,
so there's no perforated, pipe?
it's perforated in the ground,
A perforated pipe in gravel,
yeah, stone,
okay?
yeah,
Yep.
which leads down to the front of the building, which is all pipe and stone that was required that
When you say the front, you mean the
The
facing
water
the
side,
water?
the water
Thank
side, yeah, where it's all tied in with, that
Right.
design by the DES.
Yeah, 'cause I walked down there, you could see,
The
even though,
stone.
it was up- you could see a lot of stone,
Yeah.
right? You had a lot of
There's
stone.
there's pipe underneath there,
Right.
and that's to help
Kind of
control.
filter it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
Okay.
No other
Any more?
questions?
We have a motion,
no, we gotta hear the butters.
or,
We
Well-
closed the public hearing.
yeah, we had closed the public hearing, he was just explaining to us what
Oh.
we had
Oh, it's
done.
already closed? Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me, that's not clear, what was that?
Well, we had closed the public hearing earlier.
You can reopen if you feel a need to, but it was originally closed.
What was that?
You can if you feel there's a need to,
Right, we
because
can
something
open,
has
I mean, if
changed.
do you have
but-
anything?
Okay,
Okay, so
let's reopen it.
we'll just reopen it.
Do we have to make a motion to reopen?
Yeah, we'll make a motion to reopen.
Motion to reopen.
the Public portion.
Second,
Okay, there's a motion and a second to reopen the public hearing so that we can hear from the, abutter. So,
Aye.
All those in favor? Aye?
aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, so it's reopened, so you can sit
Yep.
back and, we'll just listen.
See, typically, when it's been closed, our next step would have been to vote, but because we continued and went and did a site walk, this part is very different. It's not the way a session.
Yeah, normally we
usually
don't
goes.
normally
Realize that.
reopen.
It's all right.
them.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Realize that.
We can bend.
Yeah, could you just sum up where we are with that, what the presentation is? Dave back is to us, so we really didn't hear the,
Oh, well,
So where are we on the plot line? Like, are we going in further?
Yeah, we're go, he's gonna shrink the shed to like 7 feet. He's gonna move it back, you know, where the
Instead of
little
8 feet.
cutout is. You know, when you look at the back,
In here, the
you're looking at the
cutout.
back of the house, it sets in, you see that little jog in, and then it jogs out and it gets down towards the lake.
This here, I
It's
think.
towards where the electric meters are and, closer to your propane tank situations, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, he's gonna move it. Yeah, he's gonna, see, he's got it there, but he's gonna
Yes.
move it back a little bit more into
Towards
into this jog a little bit more. And he's gonna shrink this a foot down, so there'll
So we're
be
8
talking
feet.
2.5
three.
feet?
From
3
8 feet to 7
There'll be
feet is
3
gonna be
feet.
the size of the
Yeah,
of
we're
the
gonna bring it
property,
down to
of
3
the
feet.
shed.
Okay. And so you were all there?
Yeah,
Yeah, we thought we'd see you there, but
yeah, I still don't understand, I guess we'd have more or less the same general comment. The house itself sits 10 feet from our property line,
Already?
right? So I'm looking at a building permit application denial, December 20th, 2021. Setbacks between property lines and accessory buildings shall be 20 feet.
Right,
The house is already 10 feet to our property line.
That's because.
Now we're
they-
talking about a shed that's gonna be 2 feet or 3 feet or 4 feet, sort of irrelevant to us. The house is already has already gone beyond the 20-foot setback.
That was-
Wait, the setback has been changed to 10 feet,
Okay,
so it's not gone beyond the 20 feet. It is a 10-foot setback, and that was approved.
that was approved
past.
way
I
back.
understand
was-
that.
was
We
approved
understand that,
before.
and that's partly, I think, why we're worried that it's going below the 10 feet now
We
to
just-
have the shed come in. Well below the 10 feet, right? Nowhere close to 10 feet.
Right, I
Basically-
know.
Basically, we're looking at a sliver of.
that's our concern.
We're looking
We
at a
just feel
sliver of
like-
land 10 feet, and that's the only place the shed apparently can go. Now, it says, even on the application, it says, you know, there's no space to locate a shed without encroaching on a setback requirement. We understand that,
Right,
because it's a small lot and not conforming. It is a small lot, it's been a small lot from the beginning, which is why you made the setback only 10 feet instead of 20 feet. Why we have to then squeeze the other 10 feet into a shed into that other 10 feet doesn't make any sense to us as abutters. I
Right,
wouldn't think it would
yeah.
make any sense to anybody as an abutter.
the other problem, when you go over there and you see the lot lines, you see, I mean, the state is, you know, the state has that setback of 50 feet from the lake, so there's no place there to put.
Okay?
On the other side, he's gotta put a drain down through there from the road to catch water on, so it's on his lot, so it's eating up some of his lot. It's going down through, there's trees that he cannot take out. So he does not have a lot of access to get to his well, so that's about all he's got. So that's why we went over and he had sprayed the lot line, so it was much clearer to see. And
I mean, it's, obviously, if it's the only place he thinks he can build the shed, it's the only place he can build the shed. It doesn't seem to us to satisfy the setback rules in any way, shape, or form. That's what we're
right,
worried
but that's
about.
why he's in here, to try to get a
Right.
variance.
Right, that's why we're here, because,
Right.
I mean, we believe these zoning laws are put in place for a reason. And that's where we're getting confused as to why this would be.
And we understand the
Okay.
variance can be made, and one was made for the house. We get that. We had no problem with that. The 10 feet, we felt, okay, it's 10 feet, that's where the house ends. So we didn't expect to hear, you know, 2 months later or a year later that, oh, there's gonna be something else going inside the 10 feet. That's why we're worried about it.
Thank you.
It's not for me to place where else the shed could be. It doesn't
Well,
really
you all
matter
went
to
there,
me.
so you
You saw
saw
the
that.
space. But we knew people that were interested in the lot for years, didn't buy it because they were scared by the setbacks. They said, oh, we can't really build a house here because blah, blah, blah. We knew that for at least 10 years. Neighbors of ours up there, family members, we all knew that.
So it's just a concern.
Appreciate you bringing it to us, thank you.
Right, it's a very good tight lot, and not only that, being the way the road setback comes down into the house, you know, the road is way back,
Yes.
pushes right down.
That's
so
right.
there's really no, that's the other part that cuts it.
That's right.
Makes it very tight, so.
That's right. So I guess my feeling is, well, if it can't be found someplace else, why does it have to go there at all? I guess would be my point.
all right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
you.
thanks.
Was it public hearing?
Yep, we'll close I'm gonna close the public portion of the hearing, and, we'll discuss amongst ourselves, and okay, yeah, we went over, like you say, we went over and looked, and, there was not a lot of places to put a shed.
Were you gonna make a motion, Kevin? Were you going to do the motion because you asked about the 2-foot to 3-foot setback? I thought maybe you
I could.
weren't doing the motion.
I guess the point is, there were two major concessions made by this landowner, to move it, another foot away, 3 feet, and to pitch the roof towards the house, so that essentially there's no runoff towards the neighbor's property. So those two concessions at least seem reasonable. And the fact that it's 12 feet long, that's the extent of this 3-foot, area. It's only 12 feet long. And it abuts a cart path, And, certainly usable land, but, it's not part of the major usable part of the property, the neighbor's property, so, seems like reasonable concessions.
But we need a motion,
Oh, do you want me to make?
if you'd like.
Motion is made to accept the, the application, which has been amended to show, rather than an 8-foot by 12-foot, a 7-foot by 12-foot shed with a pitched roof leaning towards the building, leaving, towards the house, with gutters that would direct any rain runoff from the roof to a French drain, which would allow water to accumulate in a cistern.
Don't think you-
Is there a cistern?
No, I think it's just gonna go in,
It's
it's gonna go in the perimeter drain and then be
Alright.
dispersed into the,
All right, that's the motion. It's a 7-foot by 12-foot as opposed to 8-foot by 12. Instead of 1.5 feet, it should be 3 feet from the property line. The angle of the roof, instead of being a gable roof, would be a shed roof. That would be angled towards the house, and runoff rain would be captured in a gutter and downspout system into a French drain.
okay. All right, let me try to read, this is for case 22001 VA, application from David Lozey, on behalf of Gregory Lozey, requesting a variance from Article 2, Section 3 of the Nottingham zoning ordinance to permit a building of a shed 3-foot, with a 3-foot setback from the property line, where a 20-foot line setback is required. This shed will be 7 feet wide, a shed roof sloping towards the house. The door will be facing the road. There'll be gutters. It will go into the existing perimeter drain to catch the water, so there will be no runoff onto the neighbor's land. And this property is located at 9 Lookout Point in Nottingham, New Hampshire, and is identified as tax map 7152. So that's our motion. Motion and a second. So all those in
I'll
favor?
second that.
No, I mean, that was your
Ye-
motion.
That was my motion.
Yeah,
And Kevin
your
seconded
second.
it.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second on this variance. All those in favor, signal by saying aye.
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 And I'm opposed, and I'll tell you why, exactly for the reasons they said. The specific reason I asked you if you had intended to build a shed was because you said yes, you should have allowed for the shed when you did your building. You knew it was a small lot, and you were within 10 feet of a 20-foot setback. And I think you should have accounted your shed into your original build, rather than asking the zoning board to give you yet another 7 feet of an already tight setback. The lots are unconventional, you knew that when you bought it, and I just think that when you know what you're buying, you know what you're buying, and you need to take all things into consideration. That's my, and I feel like I owe you a reason as to why I'm saying no, because you did make many concessions. I just feel like you should have considered more further when you were building the building, that's all.
Okay, so we had three
It's 3 to 1,
yeses.
yep,
and
3,
one no.
1, 0, yeah.
Okay, so the motion passes, so variance is granted. So you have, I mean, you're not gonna do anything right away, but I mean, there's 30 days appeal period on the variance, so.
Don't start any work before the end of the
Yeah, no.
30 days.
I think there's too much frost anyway. Okay.
And I thank you for being there with us on
Yep, yep, thank
Thursday.
you. Okay, and what else do we wanna do the just a minute, from,
We've approved,
we approved all the minutes from last time.
No, we had one that wasn't,
We did, but nobody's
Oh.
here,
Kevin has put a
right, a
conflict
request.
out for legal, and we haven't heard back on that, so we can't do anything more. Should we wanna adjourn?
Yep,
Yes?
motion to adjourn.
Well,
Second.
Kevin?
well, did we all read your minutes from
Oh,
Thursday?
yeah, we should approve those,
We
that's
can
correct.
approve those.
Thank you. Thank you. Withdraw motion.
What's the, what?
The minutes I sent on the site walk, you need to approve those so they can go
Did you
in
get
the
a
packet.
chance to see them today,
Oh.
Romeo?
I'm glad you thought of that.
Did you see them?
Yes.
And you're ready to vote?
Yep.
I wrote them, so I'm not gonna make the motion.
okay, there's
And I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from Thursday, February 17th,
Yeah.
as written.
Second.
okay, there's a motion and a second to approve the minutes from, Thursday. This was from our site walk on Thursday, February 17th, 2022. All those in favor? Raise your hand. Aye. All those opposed?
MSA 4-0.
What was that?
4-0.
MSA 4-0.
Yep.
That's right. Thank you.
Now you can make your motion, Romeo.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, there's a
All in
motion and a
favor?
second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're
All
out.
right, we're out of
Go
here.
home.